Hi, so I'm going to mix up my sourdough bread dough right now. So I'm starting with 2 cups of water. This is my starter, which has been fed and sitting out. So I got my starter going at 8 this morning and it's now 3:30. So it's nice and bubbly and frothy. So I'm just scraping that into there. And then I'm just going to mix this so that the starter is diluted throughout all the water. Okay, I'm adding 2 cups of whole wheat flour. And then I mix this up nice. And I'm going to change to a spoon because I don't like this spatula. The spoon is just it's a little sturdier. So I'm adding 2 cups of white flour. And we want the dough fairly stiff. And I'll explain that a little later. So I can tell right now that this is a little soft. Number one, by how it's sticking to the spoon. And so I'm going to move over to my hand now. So I'm just going to stick my hand in here to get it some flour on it. And it definitely needs some additional flour. So I'm adding a little bit more. Again, it's still sort of sticky, so I'm adding more. If you measure weigh your flour, you can avoid the way I cook. I don't cook by that way. I cook more by feel, and that doesn't really work great for baking. But I'm just a touch more here. Okay. Now this dough is going to sit here for 30 minutes. They call that auto lace, and what that does is it allows the flour to mix, or excuse me, the flour to get fully hydrated by the water. We'll be back in 30 minutes. Okay, it's been 30 minutes, so we're now going to look at our dough and get it out on the board. So what I have here, I'm going to add salt, and this is a tablespoon and a half. So that might be actually, just depends on how you like it. So I'm just putting some flour on the board here. And then I get my hands in there and I'll scrape it out. And then I'm going to just make a little indentation here and put the salt in there. Again, I get both my hands floured, and then I just start folding it over. This is just fold it over, fold it over, fold it over. You can tell how long this is. I won't do this that long. Just keeping it floured so I can keep handling it. So when I pull the bread and it breaks like that, that means the gluten has not yet been fully formed. Gluten is what makes bread stringy and hold together. So you can see it already is beginning to form a little better. So, okay, we're going to just flour this, put a little flour on here, cover it, and then we'll be back again in 10 minutes. Okay, it's been 10 more minutes, so we're just going to do the same thing we did before. Just get my hand floured, and we're just pulling and stretching and folding. Get a little more on the board there. You'll notice when I pull, there's little pockets of air there, and those become lovely holes in the bread. So that's really a good thing. So again, we're just doing a little folding here, stretch and fold method they call this. Okay, that's really it. We will flour this and be back in 10 minutes. Okay, we're on the third step or third time of 10 minutes of proofing. So what I'm going to do is, I don't have a baton basket, which you use for an artisan bread. So I just use this bowl, which is about the size of the loaf that I want to make. And then I put a linen napkin in here, and then I flour it really good. And you got to flour it really heavy in the middle, because sometimes the bread will stick there and then it becomes a problem when we pull it out. So now I'm gonna do my normal thing that I've been doing, which is pulling and folding. Again, seeing those nice pockets of air get in there. Now the thing on this time though is, what we want to do is this will be the top of our loaf. So we want to stretch this so that there's surface tension on it, so that when we bake it, it doesn't just go flat. So as you can see that it's breaded, and I'm pulling with these fingers, stretching that, the face of this face of this loaf, stretching it so that it becomes a nice tight ball. And then when I've done that, got a little imperfection here. Now I'm just pushing my hands so that, again, it'll continue to stretch. A little more flour. So it's a nice tight ball. And now I'm just going to roll it over and drop it in here and cover it. So what we'll do is we'll check it every hour. It's probably going to proof for 3 hours, and you'll see it grow, and then I'll show you how we can tell it's ready to be baked. All right, so it's been an hour and a half, and it's risen pretty quickly, as you can see. So the important thing about baking is that you bake this on the rise, meaning if you overproof it, it won't give you an oven spring. So you can tell by when you press it and it comes back up that it's still on the rise, which it's doing. But this is ready to go. So I'm going to light the oven, and we'll see you in just 15 minutes.